last week on Way Out West. Dallas and Dusty have been on a journey way out west, out to a town called Tumbleweed Canyon. Life out on the trail isn't easy, but they know it'll be worth it if they can find a better life for themselves and the townfolk back home in Rowdy Town. Their sneaky mayor has sent his son Buck out after them to sabotage their trip. While they were in Deadman's fort, the wily bandit tricked Dallas into heading to a town called Silver City. Dusty realized that Dallas was headed into a trap and took off after Dallas. But was it too late?
Oh, do you think we finally got away?
I think so. Say, could you be a pal and untie these ropes now?
Sure.
Thanks.
Oh, it's real knotted up.
Yeah, he really knew what he was doing.
All right, hold still.
Ow.
Hold still.
Ow, they're real tight.
And around, and around, and around, round. Hold still. Almost got it. Almost got it. Almost got it.
Woo! Freedom! Sweet freedom. Can you believe that wild bandit? Oh, I was just trying to see if those Silver City flyers were true. But right as I was walking into town, he grabbed me out of nowhere, tied my hands up with that rope, and hitched me to a fence. Who does he think he is? And how did he know that I was going to be going to Silver City next?
Because the bandit was the one that planted all those flyers around here. It was all part of his plan.
Well, how'd you get me out of there anyway?
I paid a few folks in town to shout out, "Hey, there goes Dallas!" That bandit went running lickety-split, and that gave me time to get you untied.
So, now that we're both safely back in Deadman's fort, what's the plan?
Well, for starters, I think we should have a refresher course on the trail rules of the Wild West.
What in tarnation are you talking about?
I went over these with you the first night we was out on the trail, remember? We were sitting by the fire and I read you that list of trail rules that some of the cowboys taught me.
Oh, about that. When you started reading from that notebook of yours, I kind of just nodded at you to make you think I was listening.
So, you don't actually know the rules for traveling with a partner way out west?
Not exactly.
We could have seriously avoided the whole "you got trapped by the bandit" situation had you just been listening.
Fine. What are these super important traveling rules?
Rule number 1. Trust your traveling partner, and remember that leaving your partner behind leads to a whole heap of trouble.
Well, no kidding.
Rule number 2. When you stop in towns, always lend a hand to the town folks when you can. Rule number 3. Always drink upstream from the herd.
Ew.
Yep, that one's essential. Rule number 4. Never eat more than 1 pot of beans in a sitting. Shoo-wee. And rule number 5. Never stoop to the level of bandits or outlaws. Doing the right thing is always worth it in the long run.
Well, if I had just followed rule number 1 and listened to you, I would have ended up trusting Boots and Juddy. They warned us not to go up to Silver City, and I went anyways. And I definitely shouldn't have left you behind. It sure did lead to a whole heap of trouble for me. Well, I'm sorry I didn't listen to your rules the first night we were out on the trail.
It's all right. Let's just put it past us and move on.
Speaking of moving on, we better get back out on the trail toward Tumbleweed Canyon.
Well, I gotta make sure we have all the trail supplies we'll need. Oh! First, I need to catch up on what's going on before we head out, okay? This. This is huge! Finally, something that's going our way!
What? What is it?
Unnamed bandit causing mischief in nearby towns gets nabbed trying to steal buffalo burgers from the Silver City Saloon. He is expected to make bail by the end of the day, having his father wire the money all the way from Rowdy Town. Oh, I wonder who his father is in Rowdy Town.
I
Do
don't
you think
know.
we know him?
Well, his picture's pretty dark, so I can't tell who he is. But if he's in that Silver City jail, I'm thinking we should get a head start and lose him once and for all. This is our lucky break. Let's get to Tumbleweed Canyon and go back for the rest of the folks of Rowdy Town.
I don't know. He's proven over and over again that he's one wily cat.
Which is why we have to take advantage of this and get out of town now.
What if we really use this as an opportunity to do something to stop that bandit once and for all?
Well, like what?
Well, I'm thinking we could give him a little taste of his own medicine. Like we could stick a snake in his boot. All we need to do is just go find a snake.
Oh, no. I'm not going looking for no rattler. Them things is scary.
Well, I ain't getting one on my own.
Oh, well, then how about we just forget about this plan and hit the trail while there's still time?
We need to, but before we do, I just want to say goodbye to Boots and Juddy.
Well, all right, you go do that, but wait, do we have enough supplies?
Well, I stocked up on food, clean bandanas, oh, and a cooking pot this morning.
Oh, good. Dusty, what are you over there smiling about?
Nothing. I just got another plan for how we can get rid of the bandit, and it doesn't involve snakes or any other dangerous reptiles.
I thought we had moved on from this.
Nope! We can change out his water with cactus juice. There's no way he could track us on that trail if he's been drinking cactus juice. He'll be all dazed and confused and itchy.
Oh, I don't know, Dusty. Well, I just don't have a good feeling about this. What if we get caught?
Are you kidding me? You're working with the prank master here.
Well, what about those trail rules you told me earlier?
What about him?
Rule number 5, remember? Never stoop to the level of bandits or outlaws. Doing the right thing is always worth it in the long run.
Well, if we don't, we might not ever make it to Tumbleweed Canyon and save the people of Rowdy Town. Is that really what you want?
Well, of course not, but it's just...
Good, it's settled then. Cactus juice it is. Now I'm gonna take this canteen and this here rope, and I'm gonna go find me a cactus.
Oh...
I'm siding with Dallas on this one. No good can come from stooping to the level of bandits and outlaws. I sure hope Dusty comes to his senses before Dusty and Dallas end up in a heap of trouble over this. Before we find out what happens next, get on your feet and sing one of my favorite Wild West songs together.
Hey there, how do you do? We're headed out west, but we're waiting on you. Kick up your boots and join the fun. Just follow along, watch how it's done. We're headed out west, and we're all in this together. Giddy up, partner, it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. Come on, get up, it's time to go. Do-si-do and howdy hi, saddle up, it's time to ride. Get on your feet, lickety-split, stomp your boots and just don't quit. We're headed out west and we're all in this together. Giddy up, partner, it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. on, get up, it's time to go. Spin your lasso round and round. Come on, partner, let's get down. Nowhere else we'd rather be. Come on and holler, repeat after me. Yee-haw! 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 We're headed out west and we're all in this together. Giddy up, partner, it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. Come on, get up, it's time to go. We're headed out west and we're all in this together. Giddy up, partner, it's time to go. We're headed out west like birds of a feather. Come on, get up, it's time to go. Come on, get up, it's time to go.
Well, shoot, doggy. It's good to see you back in Deadman's Fork, Dallas.
Dusty told us how he had got you out of Silver City on account of that scoundrel from Rowdy Town. Now, I know y'all need to head on out of here soon, but before you go, we got a story for you.
Ooh, I think you're gonna like it.
You might recall how God helped a man named Moses lead his special people out of the land of Egypt. They had been slaves there under the leadership of a mean old Pharaoh who sounded like,
Ooh, I'm the Pharaoh. Do what I say, blah, 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 blah.
it was pretty rough, but Moses helped the people escape, and when they had made it through the hot, sweaty desert, they stopped and camped in front of a mountain. What in tarnation are you doing?
I'm building a campfire. It gets real cold up in these mountains.
Well, okay. While they were there, God called Moses to meet with him at the top of the mountain.
Whoa, that's awesome. Did Moses just climb the mountain?
You bet he did, and when he got to the top, God had a lot of things he wanted Moses to say to his people.
I bet you that mighty fine bandana there, Moses was all ears.
Wouldn't you be if God were talking straight to you?
Well, of course I would, Boots.
Anyway, God reminded Moses of how he had helped him lead the people, and he also told Moses he wanted the people to obey him, and that if they did, they would be his special.
Oh, I know. His special spurs. You know, like the ones you shine up real good and put on your boots for when you go on those real long cattle rides.
Nah, not spurs, but God did say they would be his special treasure.
Ooh, treasure.
Moses went back down the mountain to tell the people that all that God had said, and you know what?
They decided to pan for gold like my tooth.
No, but they did choose to do whatever God said.
Huh, well, good for them.
And after 3 days had passed, there was thunder
Bah!
and lightning. A thick cloud covered the mountains, and a trumpet gave out a very loud blast.
Ba-ba-ba!
Even louder.
Ba-ba-ba!
Moses led the people to the foot of the mountain, where they waited while he went up to meet with God. It was there that God had shared some rules he wanted the people to follow.
Ooh, should I write these down?
I don't think it could hurt. Here's what God said to do. Put him first and worship him only.
Okay, God first. Got it.
Use God's name with respect and set aside 1 day of the week for rest. Respect your parents and don't hurt other people. No stealing or lying.
Really? No, stick 'em up.
Nope. And you gotta stay faithful in marriage.
Ba 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 ba. Ooh, ba 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 ba.
And last, don't want what other people have.
Wait a minute. Does that mean that I can't want that fancy old bandana you got? 'Cause Boots, I really want it.
Nope. You have to be grateful for what's yours, even if you don't like what you got. All of those rules were things God's people could choose to obey, and we can choose to obey them too.
Well, I'll be. So what happened when God was done?
Moses stayed up on the mountain for a while, but when he came down, the people were ready to do what God said. I don't know about you, but I'm ready too.
Yes, sirree. Even if it ain't easy to choose to do what God's telling you, it'll always lead to what's best when you do.
Now we know y'all best be getting on your way. According to the papers, that bandit up in Silver City will be released from jail by the end of the day.
And since Silver City's only a few miles up the road, you two better skittle on diddle on out of here.
But feel free to stop back by any time. We'd love to see you again.
Bye.
I can choose to do what God says.
Get on your feet to play. Giddy up. Watch out as some wild things are headed our way. Pat your legs as fast as you can while the horse gallops. Jump over any obstacles on the trail as we ride into town. Yeehaw! Way to go! Now stay standing for another favorite tune from the Wild West.
We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. When I'm having a bad day, things aren't going my way, I know that God is with me. He's still there, He never leaves. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. I know that I can love You because You show me the way. Nothing can separate me from Your love. You are for us. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. You work for our good. You work for our good. You work for our good because You love us. You love us. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We know in all things God works for the good of those who love Him.
Shoo-wee! I almost got us into a whole heap of trouble. I sure am glad Boots and Juddy caught up with us and told us that story.
So, you're giving up on trying to sneak cactus juice to the bandit, huh?
Absolutely. Not only should we choose to follow those trail rules, but we should choose to follow what God says. God'll be with us out on that trail whether there's a bandit chasing us or not.
Well, good, because I can tell you, I already broke one of those trail rules, and I ain't about to break another one. I know God'll never steer us wrong when we choose to do what He says. If it's His plan for us to make it out west, then I know it'll happen.
That's right.
So, how much farther to Tumbleweed Canyon?
Well, let's see here. Let me just get my map open. Well, you see, that depends. You see those mountains?
Oh, yeah?
Those are the Rockies, and climbing them ain't no joke. But if we cross through them, Tumbleweed Canyon's just on the other side. I think it'll take us about 2 days to get through if we only stop to set up camp and sleep for 5 hours a night.
Oh, no. Ew, yeah, I got a leg cramp. Oh, a serious leg cramp. Oh, I'm sorry.
My toe! What are you doing?
I was trying to get prepared for climbing those mountains you're talking about.
Well, we do have another option.
Oh, thank goodness. What is it?
Okay. Well, we could go around the mountains and take the southern pass, but if we do that, we run the risk of getting caught in a buffalo stampede.
Oh, well, neither one of those sounds so great. How do we choose? Say, do you have a rule in your notebook that might help us choose which one?
Not that I know of, but whichever trail we take, I have a feeling it'll be all right. We were born to make it to Tumbleweed Canyon.
Oh, doggy! Ow! We're so close to saving the folks of Rowdy Town. I just know it.
Come on, let's go. One more trip out on the trail. That is, if you can make it. Here, this'll get your trail ready in no time.
Oh, thanks, Dusty. Now let's giddy up on out of here. We got our town to save.
Yeah!
Ow!
Dusty and Dallas are getting so close to making it to Tumbleweed Canyon. I sure am glad that they chose to do what God says instead of trying to trick the bandit with cactus juice. It will be mighty interesting to see what happens next on their adventure way out west.
I can choose to do what God says. For today's Rootin' Tootin' review, we'll pan for gold to see if we can remember something we learned today. After hearing today's question, we'll start panning. When you see gold letters, call them out. See if you can guess the answer before they all unscramble. What are the rules called that God gave to Moses and the Israelites? The 10 Commandments. The rules that God gave to Moses and the Israelites are rules that He wants us to follow too. By reading the Bible, we can know what God wants us to do. When we choose to do what God says, it always leads to what's best for us.
Heading way out west is always full of fun surprises. I'm so thankful for all that God said to us today. Before y'all mosey on back to where you came from, let's bow our heads, close our eyes, and pray together. Hey God, thank you for helping us see that you have such a special purpose for each of us. Help us to choose to do what you say this week. We know that doing things that you tell us to do will lead to the greatest lives possible. We love you. Amen.